Throughout the wrestling history, there have been hundreds, if not thousands, of confrontations between wrestlers. Most of them are simple enough. Two guys hate each other, they fight, the issue is resolved. Most of the time, the wrestling fans don't even hear about it. In some cases, though, the incidents are so violent that the stories go down in the wrestling lore as another chapter in the wacky world of pro wrestling. Because wrestling is so obsessed with emotions and reactions, it's not surprising that the wrestlers themselves will sometimes like their emotions get better of them. Hey guys, how you doing? Welcome to my new video in which I'll talk about top 5 most infamous backstage fights in the wrestling history. First, Brock Lesnar versus Curt Hennig. If you have ever taken a good look at Brock Lesnar, you have probably figured out that you don't want to meet him in a dark alley. The man is a former UFC heavyweight champion and one of the most intimidating people working in the earth today. However, back in 2002, former Intercontinental Champion Curt Hennig found out the hard way that you don't mess with Brock. This fight took place on the infamous plane ride from hell, a flight which now lives in wrestling legend. At the end of a European tour, WWE wrestlers were flying back to United States following a pay-per-view in UK and were bored. Naturally, they started drinking heavily. Curt Hennig was allegedly hammered, drunk and kept teasing Brock Lesnar, saying he was a better amateur wrestler than Brock and he could take him down with no problem. He repeatedly challenged wrestler, saying he didn't look that tough and that he wasn't impressed with Brock. Lesnar was a rookie at that time and wasn't sure how to react to a veteran calling him out. Unfortunately for Hennig, Paul Heyman was sitting near Brock and told Lesnar that he needed to shut Hennig up immediately or else he would never hear the end of it. Brock responded by getting out of the seat and spearing Hennig into plane store, nearly ripping the thing off hinges and causing everyone on the board to have their lives flash before their eyes. Brock then slammed Hennig to the ground before scuffle was broken up by Heyman, Dave Finlay and Triple H. Hennig was fired from the company shortly thereafter because he was blamed for starting the whole thing. Second, Vince McMahon versus Kurt Angle versus The Undertaker. It's rare that you would have a triple threat suit fight, but that's exactly what happened shortly after Kurt Angle made his debut in WWF in the late 1990s. Angle is obviously a very accomplished amateur wrestler, having won the Olympic gold medal at the 1996 Games. However, that didn't stop Vince McMahon from acting like Vince McMahon and trying to get one over on the Olympic champion. Because Vince is Vince, he jokingly went for a double leg takedown on Angle and actually got Curt to the ground one day backstage. In the typical Vince fashion, he reminded Curt about it every chance he got. Vince claimed that he was the only one in the WWF to ever legitimately take down a decorated amateur champion from Clarion University, and Angle made it to his mission to even the odds. On a plane ride, Angle got his revenge on Vince, tackling him in the aisle and evening the takedown count at 1. Of course, this delighted McMahon and Vince viewed it as a game, deciding that he would shoot on Angle every chance he got. Angle and McMahon saw this as a harmless fun, but their little competition would soon involve a third party. During one of their scuffles on the plane, the noise of the wrestling happened to awaken a sleeping Undertaker. Taker woke up, saw Kurt Angle body slamming Vince to the ground and didn't realize they were goofing around. He promptly got up and grabbed Angle from behind and almost choked out the Olympic hero. Third, Bret Hart versus Shawn Michaels. Bret Hart and Shawn Michaels have a long and colorful history which has been covered countless times. Their professional rivalry turned personal and it all culminated in the Montreal Screwjob, probably the most famous wrestling moment of the last 20 years. In 1997, the tensions between the Hitman and the Heartbreak Kid had been brewing for months. The pair had gone from friends to bitter enemies when Hart saw that Michaels was using his political power backstage to keep his friends on the top of the business. Hart also didn't appreciate Michael making lewd comments on television or stripping down to his underwear in front of the kids in WWF audience. But the straw that broke Camel's back was when Shawn used his live microphone on Raw to say that Bret was having an awful lot of sunny days lately, implying that the rumored affair between Bret Hart and Tammy Lynn was indeed happening. Never mind the fact that Shawn himself was sleeping with Sunny, but the fact that Bret was married made the situation 10 times worse. Bret finally had enough of Shawn's antics and punched him in the head backstage at Raw. Michaels fought back and both guys ended up rolling around on the floor with Bret succeeding in ripping out a handful of Shawn's hair. Michaels grabbed his back and left the arena, vowing to never return to the WWF again. Of course, we know what happened next. Fourth, Arn Anderson vs Sid Vicious. In 1993, Sid had just returned to WCW after a main event run in WWF, and his ego had inflated quite a bit. While out at a bar in England, Sid ran his mouth about how he was the next world champion and that old guys like Four Horsemen better get out of his way. Anderson was there in the bar and didn't take too kindly to Sid's word. Arn told Sid that he has never drawn a dime in his entire life and was nothing but a stiff in the ring. Heated words were exchanged between the two and some beer bottles may have been thrown, but both guys returned at the hotel. For some reason, Sid couldn't let the incident go and he burst into Anderson's hotel room while Anderson was sleeping and attacked Anderson in the head. The two fought around the hotel room and Sid managed to get hold of a pair of scissors. He brutally stabbed Anderson all over his body, inflicting 20 stab wounds and covering the hotel hallway in blood. Ric Flair said that hallway looked like a murder scene because of all the blood. Two cold Scorpio finally stepped in and pulled Sid off Anderson, but the damage had been done. Both men spent the night in the hospital and were deported from the country. Sid was fired immediately and his planned victory over world champion Vader also was cancelled. Fifth, Bruiser Brody vs George Gonzalez. While some of the fights may have been damaging to the people involved, this one ended with death of a wrestler and tragic loss of a father and a husband. Bruiser Brody was one of the biggest stars in the wrestling world during 1980s. However, he never spent an extended time either in the NWA or WWF because of his refusal to do job and his desire to call his own shots and act as his own agent. Brody built himself up as a brand and traveled the world playing a raving lunatic who had bloody brawls with the toughest of the tough. In 1988, Brody was working in Puerto Rico for the WWC promotion and allegedly refused once again to do a job. George Gonzalez, who worked in the territory as Invader 1, was a friend of the booker and decided to take the matter into his own hands. Before a match, Gonzalez called Brody into the showers for a discussion. Wrestlers who were in the locker room that night believed that Gonzalez was carrying a knife wrapped in a towel. Few minutes later, a loud groan was heard by the entire locker room and Tony Atlas ran into the shower to find Brody bleeding from his stomach and Gonzalez holding a knife. Brody allegedly told Atlas to tell his wife and son that he loved them and he died shortly thereafter. Gonzalez claimed he acted in self-defense and amazingly, the knife used in the stabbing went missing. Various problems with the witness and subpoenas led to Gonzalez being acquitted of all charges and Puerto Rican wrestling scene was never the same again. Thanks for watching the video, guys. If you liked the video, please like, subscribe and share and press the bell icon. If you didn't like the video, tell me in the comments. I will delete the comment.